My grandfather keeps a boat and a bottle on a shelf in his study. It sits beneath a string of red and white flags, and when I am alone in there, I like to run my fingers along the glass and try to clean away the dust that sits inside. There's a head at the front of the ship that looks like it's caught between a lizard and a bird. Its mouth is open, and I marvel at the little teeth that are carved behind its thick lips. When I stay the night, I sit on the floor next to my grandfather's chair, the dialysis machine clicking and whirring on the desk, and he tells me about the Vikings and a stone man in a castle that will rise up to protect us. And he calls me my girl, and sometimes if we sit there long enough, his eyes drift closed and he lapses back into his natural language. I like the way it sounds in his mouth. It is harsh and it clicks and rolls in places I don't expect it to, but it is weird and different, and I like to whisper the words back to myself, practicing them like a prayer. The next time he's in hospital, my mum takes us to see him. He has to share his room with other people, other old men with crevassed faces who groan and snore when we try to speak. I'm not used to this kind of hospital room. It's a private hospital, so I think that should mean a private room. I don't like the other people here. There's a tank attached to a stand next to the bed. A little mask rests next to my grandfather's face. "Where's More?" asks my mother. "She's gone to get coffee," says my grandfather. Sit down, he says. "She won't be back for ages." There aren't enough seats for all of us, and I stand in the corner because I'm scared I'll sit in the wrong one. "Don't you have a seat, my girl?" "Sit here," pats the space at the end of the bed. I sit, trying to avoid his legs. I once sat on my mother's legs after she'd had an operation on her knee, and she screamed so loud that the nurses came running. His hands are on top of the blankets, mottled with age and bruised where the needle enters his skin. You see that poor fellow in the corner? You look over at him, the poor fellow. His wife is asleep in the chair next to him, and her lipstick smudged over her chin. She holds her husband's hand in her sleep. He's over here on holidays for his daughter's wedding. Had a heart attack in the middle of the reception. "Oh no," my mother says. "That's terrible," she says. "I heard them talking about the bill before you got here. They didn't have insurance." "Oh no," my mother says. "Bestifa," my sister says. "None said that you're here because you're smoking." On the way over, our mother told us that we had to decide if we ever wanted to see our grandfather again, that it was our responsibility to make him promise to be healthy. My grandfather coughs and says there's a lot of reasons, but that's one of them. I've seen my grandfather smoke once. He sat outside while the rest of us were inside. My mother never let him smoke near us, and he inhaled on the cigarette like it was painful. When he exhaled, the smoke tumbled out of his mouth, curling and unfurling around his chin. I'd seen other people smoke, but there was something fascinating about his smoking. I wondered if the smoke stung his eyes like a bonfire would. When he came back inside, he smelled sour and heavy and not like himself. "Bestifa, you have to promise us not to smoke anymore. We don't want to come back to hospital." "Promise us," my brother and I echo. "I will," he says. The quiet that sinks in smells like his smoke. "I've been practicing my Danish," I say. "Oh, have you?" he says. "Tillergum. He laughs. The words don't sound like his do. My tongue is fat in my mouth, not sharp where it needs to be, and the words roll between my teeth and I chew on them. "You're doing well, my girl," he says. My grandmother comes back with coffee and places them on the little stand next to his bed. "Satan," she says. "Do we need anything else?" "Stop fussing, Mum. We're fine." A few months later, it's his birthday, and we have a smorgasbord because we always do. Between courses, I slide off my seat, melting down my chair to crawl away beneath the table. I retreat to the study because my cousins aren't supposed to come in here. They're still small and always have things on their hands. The dialysis machine sits on the desk like it always does. I want to press its buttons, but I'm scared of my parents finding me touching it. I wander to the bookshelf, but all the books are in Danish or are old and for old people. I tried to read a book once by a woman called Di Morrissey, and I told my grandmother I hated it. I turn to the bottle and its ship, and I lift it and I cradle it in my arms. The little ship sits inside, the painted waves beneath it crashing into its hull. I imagine my grandfather's smoke emerging from between the teeth of the creature at the front, curling and unfurling around its chin. I change the way I'm holding the bottle and almost drop it. I panic and go to put it back when I see there's a little box of cigarettes beneath where it sits. Chocolate flavored ones. They're German. I recognize the word Schokolade from school. I open the packet and most of them are gone. There's 3 left.